With the Jets sitting at 0-8 and the trade deadline now passed, Joe Douglas came on and talked with reporters and Michael Kay. Here are my top takeaways from the conversation. Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, normally I do my Monday call-in show, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. This week, I will be streaming the Jets-Patriots game on Monday night, so if you want to come in, hang out, discuss everything about the game, talk about a little bit about the trade deadline, some of the comments from this video, make sure you tune into that. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. We are about a year into the Joe Douglas experiment, and there are a lot of questions. There are talent questions, there are coaching questions, there are draft questions, free agent questions, all across the board. So let's get into some of the highlights from Joe Douglas' press conference from today. When Joe Douglas was asked what his biggest concerns were about the offseason, about the season in general, he said he didn't surround his quarterback with talent. And if you're a Jet fan, you can obviously look out there and see there's not a lot of talent out on that field. So not that great, sort of, explaining what fans already know and already see on the field. He says there has not been any continuity on offense. 3 of the starting wide receivers have not been on the field all season. We've only seen 3 games with the starting offensive line, and then Sam missed a few games on top of it. So continuity is one of the biggest factors in why this team's not playing up to the way they should be, at least in Joe Douglas's mind. He was then asked, what do you think about Jamal Adams, Le'Veon Bell, Avery Williamson, Steve McClendon? These guys are stars on your team. You should want to retain your stars, but we're trading them away. We're moving on in different directions here. He basically came out and said giving money long-term was not the right move for the Jets, at least not in the position we are right now. So when you look at these 4 players that were brought up, obviously it's kind of leaning towards Jamal Adams. And he says he didn't go out and actively look to move Jamal, but an offer came across the table. Seattle blew us out of the water, and we took the pick, and he should be graded on the picks we get from that trade. He says Jamal is a great player, and it's my job to turn those draft picks into multiple great players. We did hear the one little tidbit about Le'Veon Bell and how they felt that it was in the best of both parties' interest to go in separate directions. Le'Veon Bell obviously wanted more touches, wanted to be used in a different way in which the Jets were using him, and the Jets didn't want to be on the hook for the $8 million guarantee. So best on both sides to kind of split there. He did bring up Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson was probably the highlight for me on this sort of conversation. A lot of this is GM speak and, things that you can't really read too far into, but he did say that they did misread the Robbie Anderson situation. They thought he was going to get paid a lot more money than he did, ultimately getting paid from the Carolina Panthers. Now, I think what that tells me is that the Jets never actually extended an offer to Robbie Anderson. I believe that's exactly what we heard from Robbie when we heard some questions about it in the offseason. So that hurts me. Joe Douglas admits that he was wrong in his assessment. If he could go back, I think he would definitely bring Robbie back to this team. He also says don't count out Brashad Perriman when he is healthy and on the field. He is causing explosive plays. We're just not getting him the ball. We're not executing, things of that nature. But he did say that the lack of weapons on this team is totally on him. It's not putting Sam in a very good situation. It's not putting Adam Gase in a very good situation either. This is where we start to get into some more of the juicier conversation tidbits, things about Adam Gase, things about Sam Darnold, a lot of things the fans really want to sort of hash out here. And when asked about Sam Darnold and how he's been playing, Joe Douglas came out and said, look, Sam is a tough and gritty guy, but we have not done our job. I have not done my job with surrounding him with talent. We have not had our players on the field. There's been no continuity. We did not have the depth we should have had across this team. And he says Sam Darnold is the future of this team. He says he believes he could be a future franchise quarterback. He does say, and he didn't commit to Sam being the quarterback in 2021. He says Sam is going to be a hell of a quarterback in this league. Don't judge him on this season and what we've given him. Sam is the future of this team. So when I'm sort of breaking down this thought process and what he's saying here, I read this as, hey, don't look into Sam's stats this year. Sam can be a franchise quarterback, probably not with the New York Jets because, he's my guy until he's not. Sam Darnold, I think this comment towards him is very much trying to put out the fire of bad play that we've seen from Sam Darnold over the last few weeks. And I think we're trying to boost up his trade value. And at the same time, you're also not trying to shoot the guy in the foot or, talk poorly about him. The guy's on your team at least through the next 8 games. You're not cutting him. So you gotta say the right things. But to me, this does not come off as a strong commitment from Joe Douglas to roll Sam Darnold, but it's also not, throwing him under the bus right off the bat. Speaking of the quarterback, we did get into the Trevor Lawrence conversation, the Justin Fields conversation, and as soon as he was asked that question, he said, look, I'm not even in the evaluation process in draft picks yet. I'm not getting into draft strategy and everything of that nature. So I don't think we're going to get a clear, concrete answer from him, but it's basically sidestepping the answer. If the Jets go 0-16, chances are they're taking Trevor Lawrence. I don't think they're going to roll the dice on Sam Darnold based on everything that I'm sort of hearing here. I'm sort of trying to read between the lines here if you catch my drift. And then obviously the big sort of takeaway, if the Jets go 0-16, will Adam Gase be back? Doesn't sound like Gase is going to be gone. And here's what he says. He goes, it is easy to pick on the head coach. The goal is to fix this together. Now, I've said this before. It comes off to me that Joe Douglas, Adam Gase, Chris Johnson are all kind of on the same page on this tank. And it doesn't feel like Adam Gase is coaching for his job. It doesn't feel like he's going for fourth downs when, it seems out of reach. It doesn't seem like he's going for onside kicks. It doesn't seem like a guy who's coaching for his job. It seems like he's very much in on this tank. And that is absolutely terrifying for me as a fan and as someone who just wants to see Adam Gase nowhere near this organization. Now, Joe Douglas did come out and say, hey, ultimately, it's not my decision. It's not, it's only Christopher Johnson's decision on both of our fates, Joe Douglas and Adam Gase. But he does say that they haven't had any conversations like that. It's obviously here. We're trying to fix this together. And I think the sort of friendship that Joe Douglas and Adam Gase have, it makes sense. They knew each other from Chicago. Gase had a hand in bringing Douglas in, so you don't want to throw him under the bus. You want to try and help him as best you can, and they probably know that he's the best shot at them going 0-16. You don't want to create a spark. There's a lot of layers to this. One of the biggest takeaways I had from this conversation, Joe Douglas says, look at any successful organization across sports. It's about drafting players and developing players. Now, to me, the Jets have close to $90 million in salary cap space this upcoming offseason, and that comment to me makes it feel like we are going to gear ourselves more towards the draft. That's exactly what we saw last year, and I expect that. But with all the money we have, I'd like to see us get some big-time playmakers in here. And he does say the moves we made created a bunch of cap flexibility for us, and we will use it as we see fit if there are trades, if there are free agents available that we want to try and make a move on. I think that doesn't necessarily say the Jets aren't going to be spenders in free agency, but I think like we've sort of seen 18 picks over the next 2 years for the Jets, and that could be more if they wind up trading Sam Darnold. I think we're going to focus more on the draft. Hopefully we get one, maybe two big free agents in here, something that's not going to totally blow the bank on us. Guys, let me know what you think of all these comments down below in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this discussion with Joe Douglas. If you listened to it, what do you think of the takeaways I had on it? Leave everything you think down below in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.